Alright, before we are going through to the issue, we want first to make sure the definition of pollution itself. To begin with the definition, the National Geographic define it as pollution is the harmful materials into the environment, in which the harmful substances which could be man-made, for instance, factory toxic waste and people rubbish dumping in the river. Furthermore, it is also has a natural causes such as ashes from the volcanoes that can affect the air, water and land pollutions. In this video documentary, we will talking about the air pollution that happened in the state of Selangor, which took place in the two major cities, which is Kuala Lumpur and Petaling Jaya. Before going in depth in these two cities, I will explain about why the air pollution can be fatal for both environment and living things. The air pollution, it can cause a lung cancer and other deadly diseases. Quoting from the National Geographic, sometimes air pollution kills quickly. In 1984, an accident at a pesticide plant in Bhopal, India, released a deadly gas into the air. At least 8,000 people died within days. Hundreds of thousands more were permanently injured. To explain more in the Malaysian context, this air pollution incident have been happened in Malaysia itself. The case happened at Sungai Kim Kim River at Johor, where the toxic pollution at the Pasir Gudang, Johor, endangered more than 947 civilians, including schoolers, where the air toxic comes from the river. The setting took place in Selangor, focusing in these two major cities, where it consistently having a bad air pollution index. Mostly the air pollution typically came from huge or main cities in a country or states. For instance, in Delhi, India, the air pollution index reading was at 416, which indicates it is a very unhealthy, followed by Lahore, Pakistan at 311. Mostly the cities with the rapid industrialization contributing in the air pollution by Emily Falk 2018. As we can see, the recent air pollution index by IQA, which shows that the most of the major city in the country recorded the highest air pollution index, which we can see the data here. The Dhaka, Bangladesh took place in the first place with the reading of 204 API index, followed by Delhi, India, Kolkata, Warsaw, Poland, Mumbai, India, Lahore, Pakistan, which as we can see here, the air pollution has been affected in a major cities. In the Malaysian context itself, the real-time Malaysian most polluted city ranking provided by IQAir Air Pollution Index, which the first ranking of the most polluted city in Malaysia, it took place in Kelang, Selangor, followed by Petaling Jaya, Selangor, and also Pekan Pahang. So our context is here in the state of Selangor, which focuses on two major cities, which is Kuala Lumpur and Kelang, Selangor. This shows that the cities with the rapid industrializations, packed with cars and also with the businesses, proving that the air pollution comes from the major cities. Kuala Lumpur is known as the capital city of Malaysia and packed with the buildings, cars, and industrial factories, which will be discussed later in this documentary. In this documentary, it will discuss more on the details of the issues, the suggestions, and what we can learn from these issues. This is an important discussion as it's concerned with our environment, which are degrading, and thus, in the long-term view, it will give consequences to our future generations.
Hi, my name is Khairi, and now let us proceed to the details of the issue. For the first factor, it was caused by the traffic jam in Kuala Lumpur. Continue with the details of the issue. Pollution in Kuala Lumpur is caused by traffic jams and vehicles such as car, lorry, bus and motorcycle. Increasing pollutant emission from vehicles and traffic jams is a serious environmental problem in major cities. As we pump petrol into our fuel tanks, petrol emission will escape into the air and causing air pollution as well. Also, vehicles emit carbon monoxide when the carbon in fuel doesn't burn completely. Meanwhile, the vehicle exhaust release hydrocarbon, which are a combination of toxic hydrogen and carbon. According to Malaysia Kini, they stated that pollution in Kuala Lumpur has been worse more than Beijing, China. The reason why Kuala Lumpur is more polluted than Beijing is due to the Malaysia dependency on the car. As we know, Malaysian fuel prices remain among the cheapest reward for driving in the world. With the cheapest price, a lot of people will feel comfortable to drive instead of taking public transportation. Based on the study of Bashol, her paper found that Kuala Lumpur ranked number 2 as the most congested city in Asia. Vehicle usage could give a big impact on air quality, especially in urban areas such as Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur is one of the cities that very well known for the worst traffic jams in Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur become a main place for people to find a job, and it will increase the population in Kuala Lumpur. The growing population in Kuala Lumpur will force people to purchase vehicle as a transportation to go work. As a result, it will increase the traffic jam and pollution as well in Kuala Lumpur. The second factor that leads to pollution in Kuala Lumpur is transboundary pollution caused by a forest fire in Indonesia. Haze can be defined as a mixture of pollutants containing soot particles, carbon dioxide, and other toxic gases that are airborne. The forest fire has caused haze and it was spread to Malaysia, Singapore, southern Thailand, and the Philippines, and causing several air quality degradation. Basically, the haze was caused by the burning of large tracts of forested land in Indonesia. Haze typically occurs during the peak between June and October, during Indonesia dry season. The farmer in Indonesia take this as an advantage to clear the palm oil and pepper plantation by using the easiest way, which is the slash and burn method. In 2019, the number of Indonesians suffering respiratory problems caused by smoke from forest and peatland fire is around 885,026. As stated by New Straits Times, Kuala Lumpur was today ranked the 7th most polluted city in the world, according to Switzerland-based pollution mapping service Avisual. In Malaysia, hundreds of schools have been forced to close after the haze reached very unhealthy level of 208 on the air pollutant index in several districts.
Next, we go to the section of suggestion.
Datuk Seri Wan Junadi Tuanku Jaafar, as our previous Natural Resources and Environment Ministry already mentioned back in 2015, he said there's a record large amount of carbon gases that mix with the haze lingering in the air emitted by numbers of cars that cause in traffic jam. Thus, from that result, it shows the increasing number in pollution index. Therefore, it must have a suggestion or idea that can be used and applied to overcome this problem to keep happen in the future. A study has been made by Brohi 2018 said that Malaysians show lack of interest toward public transport that has been provided by government or from private company itself. This matter must look forward since public transport is one of the methods that can be identified to decrease the number of vehicles in a road, since public transport can carry a lot number of people in one vehicle. Therefore, What can be done by government or responsibility body is to increase the infrastructure, quality of service, and ensure the cost that needed to face by public as consumer must not burden them at all. In the term of infrastructure, we can see that government of Malaysia has developed public transport such as Kereta Api Tanah Melayu (KTM) and light rail transport (LRT) by time to time as to manage and decrease the traffic jam in urban area, especially in Kuala Lumpur. However, as the consumer, they're not really satisfied with the service either from transport that came from government bodies or private such as bus. Time consuming, hot and raining weather, security and safety become the factors which lead to unsatisfied feeling by public toward this public transportation. Therefore, the responsibility body must play their role to improvise in terms of these factors to attract more people to use public transport in their daily life.
Next, suggestion that can be looked forward to overcome forest fire activity which lead to air pollution happen in our country by looking at the government initiative itself.
Government play important role to tackle this issue by improving the existing law who are under environment matter. As we look at a study made by Zainal 2016. In his study, we talk about root problem of forest fire and solution. In conclusion, study in the Rio province show and make suggestion that to overcome this problem is law enforcement. However, we need to look detail and discussion on is needed to improve the existing law seem it look not efficient according to the punishment and action taken to offender. Other than that, as stated by IDA 2019 delivered opinion by New Sin Yu as a lawyer who said that our government must enforce and act like what government Singapore do to take a legal action on a criminal that cause and contributing haze to their country. Transboundary Haze Pollution Act is an act that enacted on 5 August 2014 by government of Singapore which turned on criminal offence which is entity corporate or non-corporate to participate in behaviour or to condone any action on the part of another organisation or person, whether within or outside Singapore, which lead to haze pollution happen in Singapore. In addition, Malaysia government has not implemented any regulation to keep Malaysian corporation responsible for pollution in Malaysia territory caused by its overseas operation. It reflected to haze case happened at Indonesia territory and international environmental group Greenpeace claimed that the root problem came from 10 industry and one of it are owned by Malaysian.
Hi, I'm Zulhilmi Ismail. Now let's proceed to the lesson learned from this issue. The first lesson that we can learn is having balance in modernization.
According to Britton et al. 1975, academicians has different perspective towards development, but generally it is associated with economic growth and progressing forward. We learned that sometimes development can harm the environment. However, this does not mean we should stop modernization. Instead, we must find a balance between progressing and having a sustainable and safe environment to live in.
Secondly, we learn about the importance of public support.
As we know, any environmental issues should not be one-sided. To overcome an issue or implement any program successfully, all related parties should play their role and contribute equally. According to Brohi 2018, one of the main reasons Malaysians do not prefer public transportation is because of its undesirable conditions. This is where the government play its role in making improvements. Meanwhile, the people should not discriminate from their past experiences. Instead, they must give continuous feedback to give guidance for the government.
Another lesson learned that we can learn from this issue is the benefits in promoting the healthy lifestyle. This is so important so that if we take care of our healthy lifestyle, indirectly we are aware about the safety of our environmental, for instance, the air pollution.
At this moment,
the humanity mortality rate is quite high already. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), quoting from the WHO, in 2012, 12.6 million people died as a result of living or working in an unhealthy environment, representing 23% of all deaths. When accounting for both death and disability, the fraction of the global burden of diseases due to the environment is 22%. In children under 5 years, up to 26% of all deaths could be prevented if the environmental risks were removed. 68% of these attributable deaths and 56% of attributable of deaths could be estimated with the evidence-based comparative risk assessment methods. The impact of other environment exposure was assessed through expert opinion. Furthermore, WHO also added that for about 3.8 million souls died per year for the exposure of the indoor gases or smoke, and 4.2 million souls died per year from the ambient air pollution. The meaning of ambient here is involving external, for example, smoke from factories, cars, and open burning. So what we can see from this statistic shows that on how the importance taking care of our environment as it is concerned with our healthcare. So by preventing air pollution, we'll remove the chance of getting diseases and also getting death. It is also that note that the younger age will affect the most from this event. So taking care of our environment, taking care and preventing air pollution will indirectly promoting our healthy lifestyle.
Thank you, Afiq, for the explanation. For the last lesson, we learned on the optimization of industrialization, especially the industrial hubs located near Kuala Lumpur.
For this last lesson, it is a common fact that Malaysia is well known for its abundance in natural resources that leads to the dominance of industrialization in the country. Besides that, there are a lot of existing industrial hubs throughout Malaysia, such as in Kuala Lumpur, Sabah, Labuan, Johor, and so on. But some previous cases on air pollution relates with this industrial hub. For example, the incident in Kim Kim River in Pasir Gudang, Johor. According to Channel News Asia 2019, an estimated amount of 2,700 people near the industrial hub in Pasir Gudang, Johor suffered health-related issues due to the air pollution that happened from the disposal of chemical dumped in the Kim Kim River. Therefore, we learned that it is important to have optimization in industrialization. In relation with this documentary, Kuala Lumpur has a lot of nearby industrial hubs due to it being the biggest city in Malaysia. So, proper optimization must be practiced to stop and prevent any air pollution from happening. Besides that, it will ensure Malaysia's specialty in natural resources and automotive industry while maintaining a good air quality that is healthy and safe for the people.